Tutasimama kama ni seneta, tutasimama seneta. Kama ni gavana, tutasimama gavana. Kama ni MP, tutasimama MP. Hata ma MCAs tutasimama. Tuone vile yule mwenye atatushinda.
ODM is not just under pressure. ODM is cracking so fast. And at the center of this political earthquake is a warning that was ignored, mocked and buried until now.
Wengine wanatuambia ati by elections in November 2027 party leader ati kuna candidates wa broad based. Broad based si chama. Na kama si chama haina candidate.
Edwin Sifuna saw this coming months ago while the party was busy marketing the sweet-sounding idea of broad-based politics. Sifuna stood up like a man watching a storm form on the horizon and tried to stop it. He didn't sugarcoat it. He didn't whisper. He detonated. Broad-based is not a party. If it's not a party, it does not have candidates. What is the color? What is the symbol?
Unajua nyinyi mmefanya kazi ya kura hapa. Kuna wamama wakiingia kwenye polling station kama hawajui jina ya candidate, wanasema mimi nataka ule wa ODM. Ukweli ama uongo? Kuna wale ambao hawajui hata candidate na chama, wanasema ile symbol ya baba, ile chungwa. Mimi nataka ule wa chungwa. So mniambie kala ya broad base ni gani? Na symbol ya broad base ni gani? Mtu akitoka kule mashinani aseme anataka mtu wa broad base, unampeleka wapi? Hakuna candidate wa broad base. Broad base is not a party. It is not a party. It does not exist anywhere.
That wasn't a question. That was a warning label. But inside ODM, power had grown comfortable. Too comfortable. Like a landlord who thinks the title deed is eternal. They laughed him off, called him a mole, a plant, a man allegedly speaking for forces outside the party. Some even tried to politically isolate him.
Someone like Sifuna will not remain in ODM because already is conflicted. He is now selling the agenda of someone else. Why are you pretending? You cannot keep him in the party. He is gone.
Hata uko na ujasiri wa kuchestampia ati unatolea mheshimiwa rais kifua chako, na hiyo kifua chako hata nikikiona hakifai.
But here's the thing about political arrogance. It ages badly. Because today, that non-party Sifuna warned about has become a political ghost, and it is haunting ODM in broad daylight. UDA has now thrown the rule book out of the window. No zoning, no gentleman's agreements, no respect for so-called political territories, just pure unfiltered competition.
Na mimi alisema jambo la maana sana. Kuna wale wenzetu ambao sisi hatuna uhasama nao kutoka chama cha ODM. ODM wanasema pwani ni ngome yao, waachiwe wao. Sisi tuwaambia pwani ni ngome ya raia wa pwani, tuache timenyane. Na wanasema wao wanajua hata wengine wetu tukiwachwa. Juneta alisema hata wengine wetu tukiwachwa tunganganie viti, hatuwezi kuwashinda ndani ya maeneo yao ya ODM.
They have drawn a line in the sand and said, we are fielding candidates everywhere. Nyanza, yes. Western, yes. Anywhere ODM once planted its flag and declared this is ours, UDA is now walking straight in, not knocking, not negotiating, walking in.
Kama nyinyi muko na ujasiri wa aina hiyo na muko na confidence ya aina hiyo, iko shida gani sisi tuingie katika viti kama mlivyosema mtushinde? Kama hapa ni ngome yako, kama hapa wewe huna wasiwasi, kama wewe unaweza na kuminyana kwamba hii ni ngome ambayo imejizatiti, si wewe uende ulete kura zako nyingi na sisi tulete zetu kidogo, iko shida gani? Lakini nawahakikishia hata katika utafiti ambao umefanywa katika na wataalam huru, maeneo mengi ya pwani sasa yamependuka, yamekuwa mandano, ni yellow.
That's the master stroke that killed ODM long time ago. Because now The battlefield is flooded with something far more dangerous than open opponents, faceless candidates, broad-based candidates. No clear party identity, no fixed symbol, no obvious allegiance. They blend in, they confuse voters, they fracture loyalty, and in the end, they become UDA candidates. Exactly what Sifuna warned about.
So what we want us to understand, leaders should not bring confusion to voters unless wanataka hawa candidates wetu waanguke kura. Unless umetumwa uangushe watu kura. Pale magarini tukiingia, tunaingia kama wana ODM, wanachungwa. Rangi zetu zinajulikana, sera zetu zinajulikana, nembo zetu zinajulikana. Ukiona tu chungwa unajua ni nini?
This is not politics as usual. This is political camouflage. And ODM is fighting a war it doesn't fully understand yet. Inside the party, the cracks are no longer whispers, they are gunshots. One faction led by Gladys Wanga, Oburu Odinga and Junet Mohammed is drawing a hard line. Zoning is non-negotiable. Protect the strongholds, or in Swahili, Linda ground. That is no longer Linda ground. Defend the territory, hold the ground. It ain't working anymore. Ruto has taken over. It is the language of a party trying to preserve a kingdom under siege.
And if we are going to any negotiation table, we are going as equal partners, not as a weaker party. Positions, tutazungumza tukisema ni 50-50. Wale wakichukua nusu, ODM pia ni nusu. Wakichukua president, deputy ni ODM.
That we had all the SG, and we are not apologetic. We had what the SG of UDA said. He was very clear and categorical that there's going to be no zoning and that they're going to have all candidates of UDA in all areas, even the strong areas of ODM. I want to say this. My people, we must come out strongly. And as ODM, we must defend our areas and our regions and make sure that ODM is in every position as strong as we can be. And we are not going to sing songs of praise to anybody if they are not going to know that on that table, ODM is very strong, the ODM can feed everybody everywhere.
The Secretary General of UDA spoke yesterday condemning our pursuit for zoning, and I want to tell him that zoning there's no negotiation when it comes to zoning, because we are not going to allow UDA to plant candidates here in Muhoroni.
Senator Ledama Olekina has echoed that same defiance, promising resistance against any attempt to dominate ODM space. But here's where it gets dangerous. Another faction inside ODM is no longer shouting. They are thinking quietly, coldly. They are asking the question no one wants to say out aloud. What if zoning is already dead? What if the battlefield has already changed? Because fighting UDA head-on in every constituency without the protection of zoning could be political suicide. And that's the civil war now brewing inside ODM. Fight or adapt. Defend or survive. Meanwhile, outside the party, reality is moving faster than debate. Broad-based candidates are emerging across regions like mushrooms after rain. Call them UDA candidates. Not loudly, not officially, but strategically.
Hatutaki hiyo maneno ya zoning. Kuanzia leo nataka kusema hivi. UDA, chama yangu ya UDA itasimamisha governor, women rep, senator, MCA, mjumbe, kila mahali. Kona zote za Homa Bay County watasimama. Na tuko na right ya kusimama. Hakuna mwenye to stop. Tunaambia president wetu William Samoei Ruto, utuangalie na macho nzuri, sababu kuna wengine wanataka tulale chini watu kanyage. Hatuwezi kukubali kukanyagwa.
Sisi kama wa UDA hatuungi mkono mambo ya zoning. Kwa nini hatuungi mkono? Hatuungi mkono kwa sababu it is democratic right kwa kila mtu, every Kenya anapigia mwenye anataka kura. Wakati huu tunaenda kuchagua mtu mwenye anafanya kazi, sio vyama. Yes, mambo ya vyama kando. Wakenya wameumia kwa muda mrefu. Mkiona mwenye amefanya kazi, iwe mtu wa ODM awe wa UDA. Sisi kama wa UDA, wewe ni wa ODM na umechaguliwa na mwananchi, tutakuunga mkono.
Some Kenyans have argued by 2027, nobody will want to run on an ODM ticket for any elective position. They are not declaring war, they are slipping into the system. And by the time ODM realizes the scale of infiltration, it may already be too late. Because this isn't just about seats, it's about identity. ODM built its dominance on clarity, orange, unmistakable, united. But now, with Raila gone, the lines are blurred. A handshake with William Ruto. Death of ODM. The colors have faded, and the voter is being pulled into a new kind of confusion. And in politics, confusion is power. Because a confused battlefield favors the most aggressive player. Right now, that player is UDA. And as this unfolds, one image hangs over everything. Sifuna, not shouting anymore, not fighting, just watching. Siniliwaambia, vindicated. The man they tried to silence has been proven right in the most explosive way possible. His warning wasn't paranoia, it was a blueprint of what we are now witnessing. ODM didn't just ignore a warning, they ignored a map of the future. And now they are walking into a trap they were shown in advance. Kenyan politics has entered a new phase. Less predictable, more ruthless, more deceptive. This is no longer about party loyalty. It's about strategy, infiltration, and survival. And 2027, forget the date. The election is no longer in the future. It is happening right now, in slow motion, across every constituency, every alliance, every silent deal. The only question left is this: when the dust settles, will ODM still be a fortress or just a memory of one? Newsroom, Maisha TV, Bushabi Jr.